Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Nyasha, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. I nearly forgot my own blasting greeting. Oh my God, it's been so long.
It's been a long time.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Speaking of Leah, we have with us the Queen of Saturdays. I'm sorry that I left you. Shouldn't have left you. Without a dope pod to step to. It is none other than Tasha James. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I've been better. I'm all right. I'm depressed. No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you to everyone who said lovely messages whilst we were away. I appreciate that. I got a few DMs and stuff. I'm okay. It was nothing life-threatening. Just me being a little bit ill and a little bit sad. You know what? Actually, it started when we did the Saturday show
last Saturday
when I just all of a sudden had to leave before, and it just.
That was the beginning of the spiral.
Everything. You could trace it back to one Chinese meal I had on a Friday night 2 weeks ago.
At the literal second that it happened, you were like, oh.
Yeah, since then, wah, wah, wah. Honestly, not in a great space. But no, thank you so much, guys. And look, it's not about me or my health, it's about you guys at home. If you are tuning in for the first time, last time, or anywhere in between, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe on the video. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star review. If you are on Apple Podcasts, leave us a written review. It all helps. And remember, there's a Patreon for the ad-free stream. Tasha James. What the fuck is going on in this sport? I don't even know. I kind of shut myself off from it for 2 weeks. Let me tell you, in the midst of the darkness, it was a small oasis of bliss not having to be on F1 Twitter. I'll tell you that for free.
I thought you were saying F1 was your small way. I was like, wait, what?
No way. No. Let me tell you, you ever seen in Infinity War, right? You know, at the end when they're in Wakanda and they've got the force field around Wakanda, and then the little animals are trying to get in and they're trying to break through the force field. That was F1 Twitter creeping onto my Munch Club TV timeline. I was like, how did this get here? Yeah. Why am I seeing debates about things which needed to be debated every day? But no, aside from that, there have been some goings on. I guess the largest of them all would be Mr. L Plan, Granddaddy. Oh my God! Hold on. Why is my TV going off? This kind of shit is. I don't know why this is happening.
Quiet on set. Quiet.
I'm recording a podcast. The fuck. Jesus, I literally put it on mute as well. You can't just come off mute.
The TV's your biggest op.
It really is. It's like I've been sat watching you for 2 weeks. Do fuck all. No. So Mr. L Plan Alonso has signed what looks like a multi-year extension with Aston Martin, which I think to some was quite surprising. I think everyone was expecting Alonso to kind of leave. I've got a quote here, which you've gladly stuck in our little race notes. So Alonso says, and I quote, "We've built a strong working relationship over the last 18 months, and we share the same determination to see this project succeed," Aston Martin team principal Mike Crack said. "The deal takes us into 2026 when we begin our Works Power Unit partnership with Honda." So we're looking at least another 2 years. Yeah. Tasha, your thoughts on Alonso staying with Aston Martin? A shrewd move, a good move, or something else?
Somewhat surprising, I think. Knowing that we kind of have a few seats kind of in the air, different teams, he definitely for the past few weeks has been putting out, I don't know if they're little warning shots or little feelers trying to see what he can do, but he's been kind of feeling like he's not happy with the team or the car. And that, he's like, we'll see what can happen or, whatever. And then you have Mike Crack, on the other hand, who's been doing everything possible to, vocally say, we're keeping him. We want him to stay here. So I think it's just like a bit more surprising because, he likes to move around a little bit and see, what his options are. So to hear that it's a multi-year deal and then he's staying there. It was just like, okay, this is maybe a new man. Are we seeing a new era for him?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Alonso, I think, had a look at, quite similar to like the jungle, right?
Mm-hmm.
As in the dating jungle. You kind of dip your toe out, you take a look, and you realize it's full of mad people. I'm getting the fuck away. I'm gonna stay at home, my wife and kids. Like, let me just.
Maybe my kids aren't that bad,
you know what I mean? Like, honestly, like you don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, no, for sure. I think for me, it's the most sensible move for Alonso. Look, for him to, we saw what Honda have been doing with Red Bull, since they kind of, turned it around with them after leaving McLaren. And, for him to be in a position with new engine regulations, works team with Aston Martin, and we know obviously Honda, this agreement has been in place for a while, so we know that they've been working on this engine, and they are making strides towards having one of the best engines. I think for Alonso, it is, I think, genuinely a last shot at the big time for him. There's no better place to be in a Formula One grid than a works team, purely because you have the benefits of the source material of that engine. Now, obviously, if you're Alpine, that could be a pile of dog shit. However, if you are Honda, who've got a great track record recently with building good engines, and you're going into an engine regulation, who knows? The cards might fall and favor Alonso. Let me ask you a question. There are rumors that Fernando was offered a seat at Red Bull to replace Sergio Perez, which he declined. Obviously, following on from rumors as well that they did approach him in, I want to say, 2014 to replace Sebastian Vettel after Sebastian Vettel left, which apparently he rejected as well. One of the things that creeped through onto my timeline, which I had no clue about for a second and then got some meaning, was that Fernando Alonso seems to be ducking the smoke in the same way that Lando Norris ducks the smoke with any potential move to Red Bull and said, I don't really want to drive next to Max. Fernando Alonso, do you think he is seemingly doing the same thing? Is Fernando ducking that Dutch coffee shop smoke? Is he saying, no, I got cataracts, I can't do it? Is that what he's saying? Is that what you think?
I mean, honestly, putting it all in context, I think, it's, he's going to be like 40 something, 45, you know what I mean?
Something.
Like something. And he's not necessarily like lost, I would say, like that much performance, but I feel like, you have a very young Max who's the number one driver clearly at Red Bull. Like they're not going to just, split the difference there. He's not going to become the priority suddenly. So, and the fact that he is older, even though I feel like, he still has, a lot of life left, even according to him, he's threatening to be here until he's 50. So that could be fun, He's on his new plant-based diet. So he's like, I feel great. I could do this until I'm 50.
Let me tell you. He's like, he looked at Lewis and said, okay, plant-based diet. Right. Let me wear my own clothes to the track.
Right, exactly.
You know pretend that I'm dating a pop star. Like all
of the
wind,
things. Yeah. He's doing all the things that he needs to do to be there forever. So, I mean, that's alone is crazy. But I think he's, like you said, he's making a smart decision to stay at a team. Like, I mean, he has a young teammate now who he's very handily taken care of. But I think Max is a different beast. And I think Red Bull's a different beast. And I think the fact that he can't just come in and like sway the team and sway decisions and make things go his favor, I think is a smart thing to do for his age. Now, Lando Norris has no excuse. They're the same age. Like they should be duking it out. But I do feel like Fernando trying to like end his career, in a stable way, in a way that he's pretty much the number one driver at, Aston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's probably a good move for him. And yeah, he might be ducking the smoke, but I do think this is kind of like a strategic thing, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think Fernando Alonso has always been incredibly Machiavellian in how he's kind of
Yes.
conducted himself. And, I actually kind of mean that 70% as a compliment, like
Right.
he knows exactly what he wants, how he wants it, and when he wants it. And I think, like I say, as someone who is closer to the end of their career than they are the beginning, let's be honest, he is clearly looking at again, that semblance of control, like a teammate he can be, a team that's built around him, and again, there's those Honda engines, which could be absolutely imperative if he is trying to win a world title, which we know he has. And I think for Fernando, there's always that thing in the back of his mind that he believes that he is up there with the Lewises, the Vettels, the Verstappens now, Schumachers, Senna's, the ones with multiple world titles. Being a double world champion is great, and it is extremely commendable. There's some incredible double world champions in the history of sport of F1. But he wants to be a multiple world champion, and I think as much as he kind of maybe he does have an air of I don't really care, whatever. Like I think he does want that third world title at least, and who's to say he doesn't stay beyond 26? Obviously, if the car is fighting for titles, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Who really is out there for Aston Martin that's better than Fernando Alonso? Like really and truly, it was Fernando, or essentially then you're looking at Sainz, I guess. But then after that, what is it? So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm very, very interested to see how that goes. I guess for you, how do you view Fernando Alonso? Let's just say like now, let's say if Fernando's career was to end today, how would you describe Fernando Alonso? I guess your ratings of him as an F1 driver / F1 great, I guess.
Well, I mean, I don't know, somebody who's much newer to Formula One, I didn't get to see Fernando perform like at his highest peak. However, like you mentioned, he's still one of the top drivers on the grid, like period. I think was it like fourth place last year in the drivers?
I want to
Max,
say
Sergio, Lewis, Alonso?
I want to say Charles Leclerc
Or Charles, maybe. But yeah,
and
he was in like
then
the top five, maybe.
yeah, I think top 5. Yeah.
So, I mean, again, like I feel like I'm not seeing him at his peak, but I don't feel like I'm seeing him as somebody who's fallen off completely, right? Like he's not like he's not like somebody who's just like completely past their prime and just needs to like hang it up. I do feel like it is interesting seeing these older drivers, Lewis included, still out there because there's a lot to say for the amount of experience that they have as drivers.
Yeah.
And while sometimes, that experience, like, in previous races where Alonso, played his little, Wile E. Coyote type of tricks on George, you know what I mean? Like he has this like awareness and this knowledge that I feel like you're not getting in the younger drivers. And I feel like that is important to have on the grid, you know what I mean? Because you do need that balance of, young, up and coming, hungry drivers and people who have a lot of experience and bring that to these races. So yeah, I don't know. Like I rate him highly, I think, as a driver in terms of what we have to offer. And I would like to see him, maybe in a more competitive car. It seems like Aston is trying to give that to him. Mike is literally on his hands and knees, trying to make this relationship work and stick. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I see him as somebody who belongs on the grid right now because to your point, I don't see I don't see who else would come in and offer that level of like experience to a team, and especially one that's trying to become a works team. I do think it matters having like kind of like that anchor driver, you know what I mean? So yeah.
100%. And look, I just want to apologize to you Queen of Saturdays, because Alonso did in fact come fourth. He was tied on points with Leclerc, but obviously due to results, he finished ahead. So from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry, I'll never silence black women again. I'll tell you that for free. Never catch me
That'll
doing
be no
that shit.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Okay, I've listened and learned.
Are you fact checking me? No, I'm just kidding.
Are you mansplaining?
Right? Are you mansplaining Formula One to me? No. Even though you've been watching it longer, like
no. Look, even senseis like myself can make mistakes. You know, I'll put that on my back, put that on my shoulders. That's fine. What I wanted to say was, I think you make a really good point of Aston Martin really wanting this relationship to work. I feel like Papa Stroll is the equivalent of John Elkann to Lewis with Fernando. Like, he's just like, whatever you want, baby, I've got it. Like, do you want this? Do you want that? Like, I've
whatever you
got
want.
whatever you want. Like, you can have whatever you like. Like, honestly, he clearly values him, and I guess, look, you know, sometimes when like dads bring like another male model around, look, can you talk to my son, please?
Right.
Guide him. No, yeah, please guide him. Like, he's gone off the rails. Like, all he wants to do is play tennis.
He could be great, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
he's
like,
a little,
He's making TikToks of his girlfriend's feet. Like, can you just like
focus him, help him focus?
So I think that relationship, is going to be strong, and I think I'm happy for Aston Martin, to be honest, and I think it's a crucial cog in the driver market, which has now kind of fallen into place, and we're about 3.5 months away from silly season really coming into effect, which is when the summer break starts. The biggest component of that driver market is one Carlitos Sainz Jr., who is hot property right now. Like, this guy must be feeling his oats so much. Rumors abound that Mercedes are looking to tie Carlos Sainz up with a contract. In classic Toto Wolff style, he was something that Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, and now Carlos Sainz can attest to, is the 1+1 option deal, which he loves. He loves to bring that option. Like Toto will be like, I'm going to make them an offer they can't refuse. And then this shitty 1+1 deal.
Right.
Actually, I
slide it over the table. Like, what do you think of that?
What do you think of this?
What the hell was supposed to do with this?
Yeah, fuck am I supposed to wipe my fucking ass for this?
He's like, do you know who I am?
Pardon?
I'm the only other driver besides Max Verstappen to win a race.
Yeah,
like, come on now.
It's like me or some fucking teenager. Like, I don't know what you think this is right now. So Carlos wants a 2+1 deal. Mercedes are seemingly offering a 1+1 deal, clearly because it's clear Toto is putting all of his eggs in the Kimi Antonelli basket, and you know, I guess from his side, I've got this protege. I can't block him. You know, I've already got rid of Lewis essentially because I need to get this driver into a car. I can't have him poached by another team the same way we've seen Oscar Piastri be poached, you know, by McLaren. However, Carlos has obviously rejected it. He wants a 2+1, and he can see his value. I'll ask you this, I guess. Do you think Mercedes is a good move for Carlos Sainz?
No. No. Sorry. Just came out of me like. No, I feel like, you know, he's like, he's the hot commodity, hot property. Obviously, I mean, he's not Lewis Hamilton, you know what I mean? But he does have, I think, like some kind of value to offer to its two teams. And I feel like Mercedes right now is in a decline. And I feel like which is crazy to say, because I feel like you'd think that any driver would just like jump at that seat no matter what they gave you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, I'll take the 1+1. Like, I just want to drive for this team. But I feel like now Mercedes kind of has lost a little bit of that clout, or, you know what I mean? Like that appeal. And I think he's weighing his options. And I think that that's a smart thing to do, because we don't know where Mercedes is going to be next year. We don't know where they're going to be in 2026. So, you know, if you have that kind of momentum that Carlos has, like, why would you waste it? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's interesting that Mercedes is, you know, offering him the same deal that they offered Lewis. I'm not sure why he thought he could go in and negotiate something more than a 7-time world champion. But that's the kind of delusion I want to be on. You know what I mean? Like at all times, like I feel like there's something very like spectacular about that kind of energy. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to think anymore about Carlos Sainz and Mercedes. Like,
it's a weird one, isn't it? Look, I can understand Carlos wanting some security, and you know, wanting and also wanting to be guaranteed to be in a seat for the 2026 regulation. Because if that car miraculously, no, let me tell you, that's not my problem either way. But if that car is miraculously, not miraculously, you know, if they do nail the engine regulations, and if they do enough testing and learning from this year and next year, that they, you know, they are able to nail the kind of ground effect regulations, as well as, you know, the other technical regulations. You know, we're looking at moving aero parts, etc., etc. You want to be there. You want to be in that position. What you don't want is to be there for a year. The car is pants, and then, you know, next, you know, pretty much we're looking at 2025. A lot of the driver positions are filled. So then you're really kind of just counting on the Audi project, which we know that Carlos Sainz is heavily linked with, and, you know, they do really want him there. So I do understand it. I think what I found hilarious is that he wanted equal pay terms with George. Like, I for me, I love that. It's like, no, I will not drive for less money than
He's like, I want guy. Whatever he has. That's what I'm saying. Like, he just woke up and felt, he turned his swag on. You know what I'm saying? Out the bed. The man is so crazy. I love him. Like, I honestly love that level of like, I know my worth. Like, we don't have to agree. But I just love that for him. You know what I mean? Like, we should all aspire to that level of like self-confidence and self-worth. I think.
Know what? Since February, I know that Carlos has just got like affirmations on his Spotify playlist, like every day, like, you are incredible. You know your worth. Like, every day.
You attract money. It follows you everywhere you go.
Rub your hands. That's the feeling of money in your hands. My ex used to fall asleep to that shit.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did, bless her. Nice. No, she's caked up, to be honest, in more ways than one, respectfully. But
you're done. You're done.
I haven't done this for a while.
Right. Here you go. 20 minutes. We made it 20 minutes. No. Oh, Lord.
If she's okay. So I'm going to get in so much trouble for that. So yeah, I think he is definitely, and he deserves to. Look, no other driver, I think, this season has performed as well as he has outside of Max Verstappen. You know, the consistency with which he's beating Charles. You know, obviously the podiums, I want to say, did he win a race? No, he did. He did win a race in Australia. So, you know, he's the only guy since God knows whenever Red Bull, obviously Singapore last year, and you know, whenever Red Bull last won or last lost before that, Oh yeah, that was George.
That was it. Because I think
so,
it was just Sergio and Max have won races.
Yeah, since 2023. Sorry. So I think he's done an incredible job. Like in Formula One, momentum is a narrative is everything. You look at so many driver stories. If you can get like a bit of momentum. Look, they were trying to tout Ollie Behrman for the Ferrari seat
right
after 1/7 place. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? So
they're like, get him in there.
Get him in there! Get him in there now! You can really tell that he has that momentum with him, and he needs to capitalize on that because the momentum like this can dissipate like that. They bring an update to the car. Charles starts performing better. So I think from his point, he probably wants to wrap this up as soon as possible so that he can, one, just concentrate on the rest of the season, but also, just so he can capitalize at his highest point. He doesn't really want to be trying to negotiate if he has a few bad races, and that kind of takes away his bargaining power. But I guess speaking of people wanting to, speaking of momentum and people wanting to dole out Ferrari seats and so forth. I guess I wanted to ask a question. Like, how have you found okay, let me not make it a loaded question. Martin Brundle and Karun Chandok suggested on the Sky Sports F1 podcast that Ferrari might be regretting the fact that they signed Lewis Hamilton and let Carlos Sainz go. I think I saw a quote from Martin or Karun. Again, it came across my timeline. I was like, I'm not even putting the sound on for this. I don't even know who these words were attributed to, but I do remember reading something along the lines of, they were future-proof. They had two equal quality drivers. There was no need for them to change it. I'm paraphrasing it, and they've got and brought in Lewis Hamilton, who, if you go in this season's form, points-wise and results-wise, it's the worst it's, I want to say, ever been. And you know what's crazy? Before I get onto that, Tasha.
Yeah.
How is this worse than 2022? Like, I don't like.
That's what I don't understand.
Like, the car in 2022 literally was twerking down the straight.
It was a bucking Bronco. They could not control that thing, and it still was like the third fastest car or second fastest car, something like that.
Yeah, still podiums. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, we broke our backs.
Is like, I bet y'all wish y'all stopped talking shit about me now, huh?
Each car that's come, like the W12, we were slandering that.
Yeah.
And then she nearly won should have won the title. And then then the W13 came out and she was like, oh, I bet you wish you didn't slander me. Then we slandered the W13, and then the W14 came out and we're like, oh shit, W13 is like, oh, now you can see.
Right.
And it's just the cycles going on. This car is awful. How have we gone backwards? I mean, I guess we'll get to that in a second. But I guess with Lewis, how do you feel about this, shift in narrative around Lewis's move to Ferrari from what it was in February when it was announced?
It's just like, slow news day for everybody? Yeah. Like, that's kind of how it feels. Like, why are we acting like Lewis is not going to... If the car at Ferrari is better than the car he currently has at Mercedes, which it seems like it is, why are we acting like Lewis is going to come in and just stink up the place? Like, I don't get that narrative. Like, he's never in his entire career, right? Like, if you do nothing but your entire career besides win, or you're close to winning, or, you know what I mean? You always are on a podium. Like, I just don't feel like, I feel like you earn that credibility. So I feel like to discredit him and act like suddenly this man his talent has fallen off of a cliff. He doesn't deserve to be there. He's not going to improve his performance. I just feel like that's delusion. I don't know. I really do feel like that is straight up delusion. Because if you're good at your job for 16 years and you have a little off period, does the rest of your career not matter? Does it, you know what I'm saying? Does everything else you did before that just not count for anything? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, yeah. What fucks me off about all of this is like Fernando Alonso's career is like so... There's so much dross in like that he's done in those years, right? I don't say dross, let me not say that. He had the McLaren years, right? Where he was driving an absolute tractor, was nowhere near points, right? Do you know what I mean? No one said he was finished. You had, obviously, the Aston Martin year. Oh, so we had the Alpine years where, you know, things were pretty close between him and Esteban. I want to say in one season, I think Esteban beat him. Now, obviously, there might have been reliability issues and all that. But if people want to use pure stats...
Right. Narrative's the narrative.
If you want to use stats for narratives, the same way, like, well, George is kicking Lewis's ass in this season after 4 races, the season's 24 races, then we can do that as well. All I'm just to highlight how stupid it looks. But Fernando, now, every small thing Fernando does, oh, that's the Matador Fernando. Oh, he's so... they literally, like, honestly, like, relax.
Yeah.
But it comes to Lewis and like the smallest dip in form, we saw it, you know, saw it in 2022. And despite the fact that, you know, people make out the whole experimenting thing to be this thing that Team LH have just magically made up when Toto said it, the engineers at Mercedes have said it, Lewis has said it. The only person who's denying it, like Peter did Jesus, is George. Because he doesn't want to fucking smear his own campaign.
He doesn't want to admit it, but, you know.
We all know George. They're all saying it. And obviously this season, again, I'll read a quote. Thank you for putting this in here. That Mercedes were testing during the Japanese Grand Prix. Toto Wolff admitting that Lewis let George pass at the Japanese Grand Prix because Hamilton's car was experimenting things that worsened front tyre wear. He said we experimented on some things on his car and it looked like there was much worse degradation because of that on the front axle. So, you know, there's context to these performances.
Yeah.
So for Sky Sports to go from this is the most shrewd move from Ferrari, what an incredible move, to 2 months later, oh, are they regretting it? Like, I just think it's everything that's wrong with F1 punditry today, personally. The analysis is so surface level. And that's why independent content creators, whether you're watching people like us or you're watching people elsewhere around the world, and big up to all the creators out there, that's why people go to independent content creators, because they get more than they get for services that they're subscribing and paying for. And I just think it's hogwash.
Yeah.
Hogwash.
And it's also like, you know, John Elkann, you know, Fred Vasseur, they have both multiple times in this time period have been like, we're happy with our decision in one way or another. You know, they're confirming that they are more than happy to have Lewis Hamilton join the team. So I guess it's like, why do we keep trying to create something that doesn't exist? You know what I mean? Lewis is happy. John Elkann's happy. Fred Vasseur is happy. Who are we? Like, you know what I mean? To keep questioning if a 3-time race winner is more valuable to Ferrari than a 7-time world champion. Like, that's crazy. This is fucking crazy.
They're like, honestly, like, wake up, sheeple.
Like,
what are we doing here?
Like, what are we talking about here for? Like, I mean, but that's my thing is I just feel like it's so disingenuous. Like, it's not real conversation. Like, these are fairy tales that we're making up, that there's just somehow somebody so unhappy. Like, John Elkann is sitting there watching races, like biting his fingernails off because Lewis is like not performing well. But like you said, when you start to contextualize what's happening and the fact that he is the guinea pig for Mercedes during races, like I think people called it out on Twitter. They were like, why are they fucking with Lewis's front wing before the race? You know, like before they do the formation lap, they're like adjusting stuff on the car. And then we're not even like halfway through and he's waving George by, like, go around, like.
And you know it has to be bad for Lewis to be like, should I just let him pass, bruv?
Should I just let him?
Like, at the same track where Lewis and him were fighting tooth and nail for like 5th and 6th, Lewis ran that man off the road.
Right.
And you want to tell me, not even 6 months later, or whenever that race was, that Lewis Hamilton was just going to go, oh, you know what, yeah, just go by. Like, it's fine. Like, do you know, like, use your brains. I'm just like, why some of you are so stupid? It's just
put on our thinking caps, people. Yeah.
You know, I think sometimes you feel like you're knocking people's heads. It'll just make
a
sound like hollow.
Ocean sounds.
Like,
you are listening to Carlos Sainz meditation. Yeah.
Speaking of Mercedes and failures of Mercedes, there is one person at Mercedes who came in for an incredible amount of smoke this past week. The Mercedes social media admin decided to post what they thought was like a quirky, self-deprecating post, you know, oh, look at me, I don't care.
So cute, so fun,
and they posted essentially a meme which is like, if you don't love me at my W15, then you can't love me at my W12, which is hilarious in itself because the W12 was far from perfect. We hated that car. Tasha, like, why? What the fuck? Why would they post that? Like, for me, for a sports team to post it, let me tell you now, if Arsenal posted, when we were shit, like, which is not that long ago, if Arsenal posted, like, if you don't love me at my friggin' shitty team in 2015, 16, then, you know, you can't love the Invincibles or whatever. Let me tell you now, Arsenal Twitter would absolutely riot. Like, that person would get fired. But apparently Mercedes, that's absolutely fine. So I guess talk to me, like, when you saw that, how did you feel? And I guess for me, I feel like it really does show the whole difference between a Mercedes fan and Team LH. And that relationship's always been strained, especially since the car's gone shite. Yeah. But I feel like we've come to a point now where that relationship is completely done now.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I think with Mercedes, they have to kind of walk a fine line because I think they're in a situation where, you know, people are already upset with the team and the social media is the extension of the team. So that's the place where fans can, you know, interact, you know what I'm saying, and give their opinion and give their thoughts on like what's happening with the team. So I think when you, especially coming off of a weekend like Japan, where, you know, George is getting waved around Lewis to go through, you know, I think people are just irritated. And then you have a social media admin or whoever greenlit this post trying to kind of like poke light at the car being horrible. But I mean, this is the third year in a row. So I think people are just upset that this is the third year in a row that they're dealing with a car that at this point doesn't look like it can even fight for podiums, you know? So I think, you know, you just have to be really careful when you're running a social media account. And I think, you know, with Mercedes fans in general, you have 80-21 as a factor, how the team kind of acted around that. You have the, you know, subsequent 2 years of really shit cars. And, you know, you have Lewis Hamilton's career where he's kind of, you know, we're not saying he's in the end of it, but, you know, time is ticking. So you're wasting 3 seasons of this person's career who is very beloved. And so, yeah, to come online and be like, tee-hee-hee-hee, like the car sucks, but you got to love it. Of course, what else was going to happen? Like anything else is like delusion. I'm sorry. Like people are not going to laugh with you. This is not funny. You know what I mean? Like when you're not laughing. Yeah.
That is the, like, tone deaf doesn't even describe it. It's like tone dumb. Like you can neither hear nor speak. Like you are absolutely, you're a donut.
Yeah.
If you think that in any circumstances that is in any way an appropriate thing to post after another disappointing result. And I think there's this thing where, like, you know, you know, before, and they're like, last season when they're like, when the George and Lewis thing was happening, and they're like, oh, we're in this together, team, everything together, team, we're all like, team. And it's like, like, it's not the time for that. Like, and I just think they're consistently getting it wrong in that aspect. And I actually found that, I just found it, you know what? I found it embarrassing. I won't lie to you. Like I get what they were trying to do, but it was absolutely embarrassing. And no other team would do that. And I think this whole, I'll be honest, they rode the coattails of Team LH for a long time, you know, when the sport grew and Team LH grew, and, you know, the community that we built and the memes that we had and the trends that we set. And, you know, they built this parasocial relationship with us where they were in our likes and our mentions, and they were acting like, you know, I'm not a mom, I'm a cool mom, you know, like, and I think, you know, I just find like now that they don't have that to ride off, because everything we say about the team is like, this car's shit, what's going on, you know, sort your shit out. I feel for the social media intern, not an intern, the social media person who has to create this content and have to drive engagement. But COE, content over everything, is bad. Like, it's not sustainable. It's not good. And yes, they probably would have got a ridiculous amount of impressions and engagement, but at what cost? And I just think, honestly, for me, I wasn't done with Mercedes, but I am like, I'm checked out now in terms of like.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
It feels icky. But I mean, because like, again, like you said, content at all costs is not really a sustainable way to build a community. And Team LH is a community. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we laugh together, we're frustrated together, like we are constantly communicating and building with each other. And then you have Mercedes who's like pokes in every once in a while, like, hey guys, like, can I come over and hang out too? And it's like, no.
Go
like,
home, Roger.
Right? Like, go, get the hell on. So yeah, it is. I tweeted, I was like, what is Mercedes social media strategy? And I was not expecting like everybody to answer. And, you know, most of it was sarcasm, but like, it was just really funny that a lot of people are under the same impression that they don't have one.
Yeah.
And so like, to your point of like, you are trying to ride the coattails of internet culture, Team LH culture. You know, it becomes very evident when like things are not going well. You don't have anything else to kind of contribute to the conversation. And you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Like, this is, you know, something that you guys should be taking care of, because you need to be engaging with the fans, even when things aren't all positive. Like, I really reject this whole concept of like, you know, the fans are suddenly turning on Mercedes. And it's like, no, they are not. I mean, some people did immediately after 80-21, but you know, most of the fans really were like, they said they're going to handle the car, they're going to fix things. Like, let's give them a chance to do that. But now that we're in the third season and we're testing now during races, like you can't keep asking fans to give you this like unlimited amount of like patience and grace, because it doesn't feel like you deserve it.
They 100% don't deserve it.
You know?
You know what? They don't even deserve a minute more of my time. I'm not gonna fucking.
You're done.
I'm done. I'm not gonna, you know, justify any of the things that they've done. I think, you know, honestly, I'm embarrassed. I think the ick. I didn't. I was like, I can't believe what merch from this team, for fuck's sake. So, you know, not for me at all.
Hard pass.
So yeah, let's leave it there. Well, look, Tasha, thank you for taking me on this podcasting journey one more time. You know, obviously it got a bit rocky at points.
Glad to have you back.
Yeah, no, we'll see when this comes out. But thank you, Tasha James. Does that work? No, it doesn't. This fucking piece of shite. So, guys, we will see you. We'll definitely be. Oh. That wasn't for the applause itself. It was for the timing of it.
Right.
But no, guys, we will see you on Tuesday with the main pod, and obviously we'll see you again on Saturday for a Chinese Grand Prix
sprint race.
Sprint race.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Fair play. Wow. Okay. Good. 30 minutes of a procession. Can't wait. Praying for a wet race. We haven't had a wet race for a minute. Maybe.
Yeah, bring the rains. Bring the floods.
Bring the floods. Bring something, please. We need something, honestly. But look, remember, if you're watching this, give us a like and subscribe. Ratings on whatever podcast platform. And we'll see you soon. Thank you again for all the kind messages and everyone reaching out. I appreciate it. If you send me a DM, I will get back to you. And yeah. Remember... Remember, no matter what life throws at you, keep it on the black stuff. Toodle pip. Goodbye.
Bye.
I love you so much. Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quickstop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.